Hello everyone and welcome to episode 4 of our basic series, Account Review. So today we are at Server71 reviewing the account of Kkin6. So Kkin6 is currently rank 8 on the power ranking and he is currently rank 1 on the arena ranking. So we will look at his arena lineup. So it will be a first speed Genos and also a second speed RMG, which is good. And from there, a third speed CK will most likely go slower than these two units to actually heal up after the opponent attack. However, for these two supporting units, I don't really like it because for Melzagard is not tanky enough to actually tank for the rest of the units. So in this case, what I'll do is actually put on a Sky King. So essentially, when the opponents attack, your Kabuto can reflect more damage, and also your RMG follow-up is all extra damage, which will greatly benefit. So essentially, even if the Sky King get killed off on the first turn, their extra damage buffs still exist for the second turn itself. Then for Zombie Man, because in War itself you won't use Zombie Man on your arena team, so it's actually a good idea to remove out all the resources you have on him and use him just for the Club War team itself. So basically you focus all your resource on your team 1 of the Club War in order to contribute more. So in this case, I'll actually replace him with the Alloy. So how you position is most likely like this. So this one, the Kabuto will tank for the Churro lah. Also for this server itself, Server71, you notice that a lot of players are running front row attackers. For example, this guy is running Flashy Flash, this guy is running Watchdog, this guy is running Boros, this guy is running Watchdog, and this guy is running Watchdog. So your server is actually very front row oriented. So in this case, what I will do is swap the roles itself. So because their front row attack is very strong, although your RMG is very prone to the opponent's RMG attack, however, because they are running Watchdog, Boros, and Flashy Flash, so I think this will be better. So we'll go ahead and swap everything back now. Next, we will be going over his basics. So for the basics, we'll start from the left. For these training halls itself, he actually makes everything up. Then on top of that, his battle training and skill training, he have actually put in some effort to try and max out the attack and the HP, which is good. And on top of that, he still have 9 million gold. So he can easily max it out if he want to. Then he's running all the basic cores, the Deep Sea, Dr. Genos, Mosquito, and Zombie, which is good. Then for Genos wise, I will actually recommend to change it to Armor instead because of the single target attack rate. So for this one, I actually did a confirmation on this. So for this Genos itself, this C attack is actually not a crit attack but a column attack. So as of now, your current team do not have any column attackers. So in this case, these stats are useless until you draw for the ATT. Next, we will be going over his figurines. So for figurines, something that I noticed is that he actually has some figurines that he can raise. For example, over here. So whenever you see the arrow keys on characters, right, it means that you can actually raise the star for the character. So if you actually take a look at this, you are one short of a 5-star progress, which gives you 1% of each stat. So you can actually raise up any one of these end characters to gain this 1% bonus itself. So definitely check in once in a while to check whether you can star up any of these characters over here in order to gain some stat boost. Next, we will be going over his Club War team. So for his Club War team, he actually put in his main lineup into this Club War team itself, which is pretty good. So essentially the zombie is over here, and this is actually a pretty good lineup lah, according to what he has. And now we will move into his training center. So his training center is pretty good in the sense that he have 2 characters of each element. And also his skill training limit is at 105, which is very good, because it means that he has been putting his skill books in the right place. And for these skill books, I'll actually recommend him to use up whenever possible. So as of now, he actually have quite a number of goals, so he can actually purchase all these skill points itself and raise the skill level even higher. Because if you see over here, he actually have 2.5k access books on the top right corner. So definitely use up your skill books as soon as you get them. Next, we will be going his SAC count. So he has currently 529 SAC. So I'll say it's pretty much focused already. Most of the SAC is on Genos and RMG CK. So for Zombie itself, I'll actually recommend him to take all the 37 SACs out from the Zombie and use it to unlock the level 3 talent sigil for the RMG. So ideally, you actually want to open the support sigil first in order to increase the survivability of the RMG. Next, we will be going over his sigil. So he is currently running this vitality on the RMG. So in this case, if you actually take a look, it actually gives about, okay, as of now he has 2.3 million HP. So if you were to remove it, it will give you about 100,000 HP itself. And if you compare it with this out damage free itself, in this case his server most Genos hits about 10 to 12 million. So 10 to 12 million, let's take 12 million now. So 12 million divided by 6 is about 2 million on one target. So if let's say you were to take this Chaos Sigil at level 4 instead, it will actually reduce the out by 12%, which is 240k. So 240k is about twice better than this Vitality Sigil. You might argue that for this one it actually gives more attack. However, for DPS units itself, you actually want it to survive as long as possible. The damage is already there, it's just that you need to make sure that it survives so that your SAC are doing the work itself. So in this case, it will be actually better to actually change it to a Chaos instead. Then for the SAC that you reverse from Zombie, right, you can actually open these support sigil. The support sigils are the 8-sided one on the top right corner over here. So what you're going to put on it is this Bastion Sigil itself. So Bastion Sigil actually reduces the crit chance. So if let's say the unit does not crit, your RMG passive will trigger. So 30% reduction, 2 million, it will reduce it to about 1.4 million. And on top of that, with the Chaos, your RMG will definitely survive for longer, and from there it can actually do follow-up damage. Then for Genos itself, from the extra SAC that you've gotten, I would actually recommend to open the support sigil as well. So in this case, instead of putting the Bastion and the Chaos, I will actually suggest for Vitality instead, because Genos actually scales off HP. So it's actually better to put as much HP on him as possible to make him survive for longer, and also to make him deal extra damage with it. And on top of that, he won't really die because he has the Undying passive. So actually, even if it drops, it can still come up again to finish the opponent off. So you definitely want to build as much damage onto him, because he will not die basically. Okay, so we will actually review the gears of his zombie man itself. So over here, this one will be the first to reverse. Then the gears will be the second one. Then the buff cards. So buff cards wise, I would say try to keep all these 3 if you can lah. But if let's say you feel like you want to go for the SAC for Genos as well, you might need to sacrifice one or two. Yeah, so in this case, for this one, because the thing about ATT is that you are not going to use it until when bomb call arrive. Before that, most likely you'll be actually sticking with your current Joro lineup. So what I'll actually suggest is just reverse out these two lah, because the stats are only one line of each. So over here you have damage rate, over here you have speed, that's it. The attack doesn't really matter lah. These two can easily be washed. Then for this one, I would say you can actually keep it for Sonic. This one is not because it's better than these two. However, this one is because of your current inventory. So I took a look, you only have duelist HP. So for you to obtain another duelist attack, I'm not too sure how long it will take. However, if you look for this S-class attack, you actually have quite a number of S-class attacks. So it's no issue for you to just remove it right now and just wash it in 3 months time or so. This one is just for your account. This one is specific lah. But other than that, if let's say you have a lot of these duelist attack, this will definitely be the first one I will reverse and also dismantle. And lastly, we will actually talk about his BT plan itself. So for BT, he currently has 158. So in this case, I'll actually recommend him to draw for ATT on August and skip Amai on September. Reason being, his ticket is really not enough lah. So draw for Bomb Core on November and draw for Sonic V2. Sonic V2, because it's a duelist, that will be very helpful in the Bomb Core because you won't have any usable duelists at this time. So from there, it provides a speed boost to your whole team. So although you skip Amai in September, however in January you are able to make up for it. Then for LiQWYD, because your team is actually increased speed from the Sonic V2, so from there the LiQWYD will stun 2 targets on the opponent. And this team is actually very very strong. And also he left me some questions to answer. So number 1, who is more suited for my arena setup? Zombie Man Alloy or Sky King Melzagat? So in this case, I'll actually pick Sky King Alloy. You can refer to the previous part. Then which keepsake should I focus to get? RMG or that was his question lah. So I actually recommend RMG, ATT and Sonic. Reason being, he has 126 tickets currently and he will get 9 freaking tickets per month. So on April 2022, he will have 216. So it's actually enough to draw for all 3. And also, which buff gears should I keep for ATT? I actually look at the buff gears itself. The buff gears are those stats are actually very washable. So you can actually just reverse it and dismantle it. It's no issue. Then from there, you give this SAC to your RMG and Genos to open the talent. And the next one, when should I reverse CK and Zombie Man SACs? For Zombie Man, it will be right now, and for CK, it will be on November when Bomb Core arrives. So once Bomb Core arrives, you will remove this SAC from the CK and put it on your sub DPS unit, be it for Vaccine Man or this monsterized Chos. Then just take note that for this zombie SAC, give it to RMG and Genos. Then some other things to note for this account is that you actually want to max the HP nodes for the Genos talent tree. So just now when I took a look, the Genos only has 8 talent points. And also for this CK talent as well. For Arena, just take note that for your server, specific server, a lot of your players are actually running strong front row attackers. So in this case, you actually want to put your main DPS on the back line instead. So overall, I think that it's actually a pretty well managed account, because for this account itself, he actually only purchased the backup card over here. He didn't buy anything else. And for him to reach rank 1 arena is actually pretty strong already. Yeah, so if let's say the opponents are able to draw for both APT and Amai, then good for them lah. It's because they actually purchase the black ticket. However, as of now, because your black ticket count is really not enough, you will actually need to skip out on the Amai, and probably your rank will drop. However, this one is really no choice because your SAC is really not enough. So that's all for today. I hope that you found this helpful, and if you like the video, please like and also subscribe to the channel. With that, thank you for watching and have a nice day. Goodbye.